Well, all right. Thanks for joining me for another weekly market update. We're coming to you a day late because of the Labor Day. Hope you all had a great long weekend and got some rest and relaxation. So, what's on everybody's mind, you ask? This thing. So, it's Trump versus Fed. So, this is kind of becoming an ongoing thing that we've been covering for a while. But let's talk about the latest and greatest. So, this lady up here, her name is Lisa Cook. She is a Fed governor, and she is the only African American female Fed governor in the history of the Fed. And she is being fired by President Trump because he is alleging that she has committed some format of mortgage fraud. Now, why does this all matter? Well, because if Trump is able to fire her and get her off the board, he can stack the board with some of his own folks, which then would force the hand for faster Fed funds reduction of rates. And remember, again, these are not mortgage rates. These are rates that banks use to borrow monies from one another on an overnight basis to be able to maintain their reserve requirements. By lowering those rates, banks play more willy-nilly and fast and loose with their money, and that pumps more money into the environment, which is, you guessed it, inflationary because costs go up. Specifically because of the fact that if you follow us on Instagram, you'll know from last week's PCE numbers, inflation came in a bit hotter than what it is from a month over month. So this is not going away anytime soon. So now she has sued him for this, and now the courts have to decide if there is cause to fire her or not. And really, at the end of the day, the big picture here is that the Fed needs independence and its guardrails against any kind of political boom and bust cycle, whether it's Democratic or Republican, it doesn't matter. They're supposed to look at two things in the economy, which is to keep inflation down and keep jobs up. Those are their two mandates. Okay, so what's super interesting about this so far is A, no one has been formally charged or convicted, so there's no definitive ruling whether or not she has committed this crime. The terms she secured her mortgage on are higher than the national averages, which usually kind of points out to the fact that, hey, she didn't do anything wrong, because that's why you would want to get two primary residences at the same time to lower that. Now, it's worthwhile noting that Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac absolutely allow more than one primary residence at a time for specific cases, like if you are buying the home for an elderly parent who is on disability, if you're buying a home for a disabled adult child, you can have two primary residences. That's in the statute. You can do that. We just don't know what it is that she's done so far. So this will be interesting to see how it all plays out. Certainly for someone at that level to try to commit mortgage fraud to save themselves, whatever, half a percent interest rate just doesn't pencil out. But what do we know? So it's important to note that there's 600 economists that have signed an open letter after Trump attempted to fire her. So that should also tell you how important this independence is and why it's really important that we maintain it. Now, what's going on this week? Tuesday, we got nothing going on now. On Wednesday, JOLTS and mortgage apps are released. JOLTS is job opening labor turnover statistics. That's a mouthful. And it shows us how many people are switching jobs and job hopping, if you will. We're going to probably expect that number to be low. Thursday is the ADP jobs report. ADP processes millions of payroll, so that should tell us what's going on as a precursor to Friday's BLS job report. This is the first one that's going to be released since the head of the BLS was fired by Trump for submitting lower than expected numbers last time. So let's see what this looks like. Definitely on a day-to-day, I would recommend that you follow us on Instagram or on Facebook at OmeetS. That way you are getting up to the minute 30, 60-second updates every day about what's happening to this. Technically speaking, we've lost some ground here over the last few days. This 102.20 bar that's been set up here has been a tough customer for us to break through. So we'll have to wait and see what the next few days hold. What does that look like for rates? Pretty flat, you guys. 6.54 last week, 6.53 this week, basically 6.5 across the board. Still, if you ask me, a great time for folks who are ready and want to buy to go out there and buy, because inventory levels are higher than they were this time last year. They're still not as high as they were pre-COVID, but that's a different story. But I can tell you that bar none, every seller that we deal with is more than willing and happy to interact with the buyer for some level of concession or price reduction or something like that. Now, there's a lot better way to do it. Don't you go and take 20 grand off that price, because if you take 20 grand off the price, you save yourself 120 bucks a month. Take 20 grand in concessions, apply it to different methodology that we have, and we can save you 6, 7, 800 bucks per month. Okay? Cool. So with that, I bid you adieu. Please do subscribe, like, comment, and share these things so this channel can continue to grow and serve more people. Otherwise, we will see you on the Instagram page. Have a great week.